Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our featured bout. It is scheduled for 12 rounds, and it will be for the WBO Interim Heavyweight Championship of the World. Brought to you by Frank Warren for Queensberry, in association with Platform Sports and Gold Star Promotions, along with their great sponsors. 32 Red, Unibet, Riyadh Season, The Ring, That Prize Guy, Global Next Trade, Bow Nutrition, and Flexi Mize. A big thanks to those great sponsors. It is sanctioned by the World Boxing Organization, President Gustavo Olivetti, Supervisor Dennis Gilmartin. Our three judges assigned will be Phil Edwards of England, Matteo Montella of Italy, and Patrick Morley of the United States. Our referee in charge will be Howard Foster of England. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. So boxing fans joining us live worldwide, and boxing fans here in London, England, the hour of truth has arrived. Introducing first the challenger. Fighting out of the red corner, he comes to the ring wearing blue with white and weighed in officially at 242.7 pounds. Hailing from Ipswich, England, he is undefeated with 19 wins, 1 draw, 18 of his 19 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, ranked number 6 by Ring Magazine, here is the undefeated, hard-hitting challenger, Fabio Wardley. And his opponent across the ring in this main event, he is the defending champion, fighting out of the blue corner. He comes to the ring wearing white, yellow, and black, and weighed in officially at 262.4 pounds. Coming to us from South Auckland, New Zealand, he brings a professional record of 36 wins, 3 defeats, with 24 of his 36 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, ranked number 2 by Ring Magazine, here is the former WBO World Champion, and tonight, the reigning and defending WBO Interim Heavyweight Champion of the World, Lupe Soliai La'auli Alemali Etoa, Joseph Parker.
Championship boxing on BBC 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Chris Lloyd alongside Richie Woodall and Steve Bunce as Joseph Parker walks to the centre of the ring.
Keep it clean, Rick, straight away with toe. Once you watch it, heads in close, good luck to you both, just us. Good luck, lads.
The words of Howard Foster there, delivering final instructions as the fighters and the trainers touch gloves. Robert Hodgins exits the ring to the right of Fabio Wardley. Andy Lee applies the last of the Vaseline to the eyebrows of Joseph Parker. 25,000 gathered at Portman Road to see Wardley clutch victory from the jaws of defeat against Justice Hooney last time out. Will we see such dramatics from the Ipswich fighter in front of 20,000 here in London, or will the considerable championship experience of Joseph Parker tell? Away we go, both fighters step to centre ring. Wardley fires out the first jab into thin air. Parker steady on his feet, just eats a jab from Fabio Wardley. clad in the blue and white of Ipswich Town Football Club. Parker in yellow, white and black, calm as the inevitable battle for centering commences. Wardley just trying to box in a tight circle around the man from New Zealand, just stepping around to his left-hand side. Parker feinting with the feet as the pair land jabs simultaneously. Wardley just touches the lead hand of Parker with a jab. Parker puts a bit of heat about behind his jab for the first time as Wardley stabs downstairs to the body. Tense opener, respectful between the two in this first minute, Richie.
We spoke about earlier that Parker may be the heaviest, but he may be the quickest, and I think that's the situation here. Straight away, very fast jab indeed from Parker, and you can see Wardley, he hasn't probably experienced that before. He's obviously trying to get off his own jab also, but you can just see that he's just staying on the outside, and I think that speed of Parker, he's finally realising now that he's in with a very quick opponent indeed. 3 jabs there go from Parker.
And then the left hook off the back of it too, just under the right eye of Fabio Wardley. Knew about that, and then a follow-up jab just snaps the head back of Wardley. Good start this from Joe Parker. Minute 30 of the first round gone. You feel all eyes trained on this. You know that you can't blink for a second, particularly with the kind of lights-out power that Fabio Wardley has displayed to this point. But he wings a speculative right hand just over the top, a little bit laboured and a bit slow at this point. Just thumps one into the body of Parker. Doesn't want to show his hand too early in this contest, and it's Parker who's landed the meaningful shots in the fight so far.
Yes, indeed, with that jab especially. It's been simple boxing from Parker, quick off the mark, keeping the punches nice and straight. So what we've seen here now, Wardley's just trying his luck with the odd right hand over the top, but he's a little bit too far out, so he's got to measure the distance a little bit better with his own jab and get his feet into the right position to land that right hand. He's too far out at the moment.
Just a little bit of claret just on the right of the nose of Wardley. Could be a nick somewhere on the face. We'll try and get a look at that in between the rounds. Wardley just trying to circle outside of Parker, but he gets caught again with a left hook off a nice double jab from the New Zealander, who's stepping in with the lead hand low. Wardley just shuts down the space. The two come together, and referee Howard Foster just separates them and brings them back to centering as the seconds tick down. Nice long right hand from Parker, just glanced the top of the head of Wardley there, followed up with a left hook as the two exchange jabs at centering. Wardley looked to pull the right hand over the top of Parker's jab there, connected but without real force, and Parker's landed a stiff right hand on the inside, and he's let the hands go as Wardley's backed up onto the ropes, and 2 came through the middle there. Wardley in a bit of trouble, Steve Bunce.
That's how we like to finish a round. That was a great right hand. You saw Joseph Parker lunge at him, let his hands go, 5 or 6 shots. Fabio Wardley was certainly hurt, not out on his feet but hurt, and had to grip and grab with all of his life just to stay up there, Richie.
Yeah, superb. There was not in the round up until that point. I think Parker was winning the round slightly because of the quicker, speedier, faster shots, and he was keeping Wardley on the outside, so it looked like he was the aggressor and going forward. But that was sort of the icing on the cake at the end of the round there, how he just exploded into life, a couple of good shots. You know, I think Wardley is realising that he's in with a really quick fighter here, and he's got to adapt here.
He's looking across at a big man who's reading everything he's doing, who's landing great shots. It's a short right behind the ear, terrible place to get hit for a heavyweight. Then he lets 5, 6, 7 shots go, and Wardley grabs him. Let's see, this could be a really crucial 10 seconds.
Well, how hurt was he at the end of that round, Fabio Wardley? Only he knows, but he looks fresh and sharp as he steps to the centering for the beginning of the second round. Just fires out a jab near the nose of Joseph Parker, again a little far out with the right hand, Wardley. And it's Parker who's won the early battle for the centre of the ring, and he's holding his feet in the middle. Wardley just stepping around him clockwise, just looking to box in that tight circle, typical of Ben Davison and Lee Wiley's fighters. He's going to have to try and get a foothold in this contest. Would have expected to maybe be a few rounds behind at the midway point of this contest, but maybe they wouldn't have been expecting to have got hurt early in the contest. But again, Parker fires a stiff jab out to the face of Wardley. Wardley just not quite finding the timing and range, and Parker didn't miss by much with the counter right hand that time.
Now, this is the problem that Wardley's got here. He's too far out. He's got to try and land his right hand. But his lead hand is far too low. So what's happening now when he is trying to get close to Parker, he's getting caught with the right hand. He's got to watch it here. He really has. He's in trouble. He could be in trouble here, Wardley, because he keeps going around drifting to his left. His lead hand is really low, and as I say that, he nearly gets caught with a big shot.
Well, he's walked onto a big right hand there, and Joseph Parker in the follow-up has bustled him onto the ropes and maybe smothered his own work. Wardley managed to hang on that time, but he just walked straight into that overhand right that was the one he knocked out Justice Hooney with, and now Wardley lands a right hand, and Parker in a little bit of trouble for the first time in the contest, and Wardley lands a two-punch combination to follow up, and Parker looking a little bit worse for wear here. The New Zealander backed up into the corner, finds a stiff jab to buy himself a little bit of time and space, trying to keep his eyes on the Ipswich man as Wardley suddenly turns into the hunter for the first time in a contest, and we've said so often how dangerous he is when he's hurt, and he's showing it now, and he rocks Parker backwards to his heels with a big right hand, and Parker looking a little bit dazed here, walks up to an uppercut, and he's all over the place. Wardley teeing off, uppercut through the middle, the left hook off the back of it, and the same again. Parker touching his head, he's all over the place here. And Howard Foster having a good look at Joseph Parker as he's on the ropes with 40 seconds to go here in round number 1, and he's in all sorts of trouble.
Unbelievable turnaround. Oh, what's Howard Foster doing? I thought there's a gum shield gone out. The crowd aren't happy. It's Parker's gum shield. He's either spat it out or it's come out. It's just giving him the seconds that he needs to recover.
Well, Howard Foster's pulled him back to the centre of the ring as quickly as he could, but Joseph Parker in real trouble, and that was veteran tactics from the New Zealander to try and buy himself some time as Wardley lands another right hand. Parker fires back, but Wardley just drops underneath the rear of... Oh, a lovely left hook from Joseph Parker, swings in with a big right hand that missed, and suddenly Wardley on the back foot. Back and forth stuff is. What a brilliant second round. We hear the 10-second clapper, and Joseph Parker will be grateful to have made it to the final bell of this second round. Still on his feet, remarkable.
Well, that was truly extraordinary, because Parker did hurt Wardley in the first 30-40 seconds, and then it was first of half a dozen shots high on the head. Parker was absolutely gone. He's taken a lot out of Wardley. Parker still has no idea where he is. Chaos in the corner there. Oldtrick spitting the shield out with 31 seconds left.
Unbelievable, Steve. We said that Wardley was looking like he was going to walk onto a shot. He did indeed. But then what he did, he actually changed his tactics. He dragged him into that toe-to-toe battle that we said that he would favour him, and he catches him with big shots. A big uppercut that went in, a left hook, and Parker is all over the place. A big, large part of that round, Steve, and Wardley fought his fight for most of that round.
You know what? That was an absolutely dominant display. Parker still has no idea where he is. Chris, not a single clue where he is tonight.
Well, it wasn't quite Fury Usyk levels of banging trouble, but it wasn't far off it. Joseph Parker still maybe in a haze as Fabio Wardley steps to centre ring and has suddenly turned the fight firmly in his favour. He's just firing out the jab into thin air at the moment. Parker looking a little bit laboured as Wardley lands a stiff jab. And just circling around him, looking relaxed now, maybe picking his moment, knows maybe the man there is for the taking, but he can't get greedy here, and he can't get foolhardy.
It's a total...
and now Wardley's walked into a big right hand. Fabulous work from Joseph Parker there, staggered the Ipswich man, and just for a moment, Richie, it looked like he was going to go down, and now Wardley fires back. You cannot take your eyes off the action for a moment here.
But Chris, the tactic should be plain and simple for Parker. Get back to your boxing. Just keep doing what you're doing with the jab. It's Wardley who wants to drag you into a toe-to-toe scrap, which he's having the better of. Let's get it right. He's landing that big right hand time and again. He's bringing uppercuts into play. But Parker's lost the pot a little bit here because he's got to get back to boxing behind his jab and straight shots. That's what I'd be saying to him. When he gets toe-to-toe, it's Wardley that's in control.
Well, only Joe Joyce was able to keep him down permanently. He's got up from the likes of Dillian White, Derek Chisora, Zhilei Zhang as well. All big punchers too, and he's found a way back into contests to see them out over 12. Fabio Wardley knew that he couldn't afford to see the headlines if he were to have the New Zealander hurt, and he hasn't had him down yet. Minute 30 gone in round number 3, and it has been frenetic stuff between these two. Knew it could catch fire at any moment. We didn't know it was going to be as early as it is, as Wardley with his back to the rope just feints and drives Parker back. Parker looks for the full counter right hand over Wardley's jab. Wardley thumps the right hand into the body. Howard Foster circling around the perimeter of the ring, eyes firmly on the fighters as Parker thumps a jab into the chest of the Ipswich man. Wardley just low lead hand, backed into the corner on the far side, opposite our commentary position, looking for a way in. Jabs to the body, Parker counters with a left hook to the head, and Wardley thumps a right hand in that looked like it went straight through the jaw of Parker, but no reaction from the New Zealander. Took it brilliantly well.
That was an incredible shot. It looked bang on. So what a chin Parker's got. That's better from Parker behind the jab. Up to that point, I was about to say that it's Wardley who looks like he's allowed Parker to actually recover. But now he's dragged him in again. They're both hitting each other, Chrissy, with big shots.
Parker landed 2 of 3 in a rally there that just bustled Wardley into the corner. 2 landed clean upstairs with real force and impact. 262 pounds. The New Zealander came in on the scales in great condition. Wardley 20 pounds lighter. How will that take this toll on the fighters if this one goes down the stretch? 10 seconds to go in the third. Wardley just shaping up, lead hand low, looking for that entry point. Parker fizzes in a right hand, just glanced the cheek of Fabio Wardley. 3 rounds in the books, Steve.
3 rounds in the books, both of them hurt in that round, both caught in that round. Fabio Wardley with those big lunging left jabs to the body, and then wait for it, half a second later, across comes the big right hand. Joseph Parker certainly buzzed Wardley in that round. Both of them taking desperate but fabulous risks for the crowd. Dreadful for the corners to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, Parker, I actually thought that Wardley allowed Parker to recover in a lot of that round, but at the same time then he produces a couple of real big right hands that sort of shook Parker. And you have to say, when it goes toe-to-toe, it's Wardley that's probably landing the more exciting and heavier shots on the inside, Steve.
Joe's just got to regain that bit of composure.
Yeah.
The jabs at the start of the second round when it had Fabio hurt at the end of the first. Sensational fight. Sensational 3 rounds.
Second round, round 4.
Championship boxing on BBC 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and what a fight it is. Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley in the trenches after just 3 rounds here at a packed O2 Arena in London, and out they come for the 4th. Parker's just a little bit more sprightly after a torrid round and a half, and a big second for Wardley. Looked a little bit jaded in the corner just now. The ice pack on his head, the end swell from Adam Gigley under his eye. Ben Davison calmly talking in his ear. They knew this would be the kind of fight they could expect, and he went to the trenches against Fraser Clark. He went somewhere near against Justice Hooney. He's going to have to dig deep and show the best version of himself that he has to get the better of a seasoned championship fighter in Joseph Parker. They exchange jabs at centre ring. Parker fires the left hook off the second jab, just caught Wardley on the side of the head. Not too much in it though. Again, they just exchange with the left hand. Just a lull for the first time in a couple of rounds, Richie. They put a lot into these, but Wardley fizzes a solid right hand under the left elbow to the body of Joseph Parker.
Yeah, with Wardley, I mean, he started this round better with the jab, actually, and then Parker's having a look at him, but you think he's too far away, but then he's got this injection of pace with the right hand. He launches it from far out, and it hones in on the target, and it's been catching Parker. I'd like to see Parker, like Steve said, get behind his simple boxing a little bit more. He's taking too many risks, and he's not jabbing enough, and it's Wardley that's actually boxing better in this round.
Well, from a fan's perspective, I think they'll be grateful that Joseph Parker has opted to box this way, because it's made for an unbelievable contest, and they've got their money's worth from the tickets already as they back at centre ring, exchanging jabs, just looking a little bit laboured as a result of the unbelievable work that both of them have put into the contest so far. Wardley jabbed to the body hard, and Parker looked to chop the right hand down in the counter and didn't miss by too much as Wardley walked into a big right hand and a left hook and just went into that kind of Philly shell, but he's been caught a couple of times in the follow-up by Parker, who lands a big right hand and a left hook again, and now Wardley's on the ropes, but he's firing back in the textbook way that he does. Tucks up and rolls as Parker looks to come back at him. Wardley still with his back to the ropes, still dangerous, and they lock up, and Howard Foster separates them and brings them back to ring, and that's how quickly things can ignite between the pair of them.
Yeah, you saw a rare situation there, because actually Parker did so well in catching Wardley and backing him onto the ropes, but Wardley looked quite content on the ropes. He looked comfortable, and he actually landed some better shots on the inside, did Wardley there, when Parker was on the attack. So tremendous contest, and it's literally who can find the clean punches here.
Parker just starting to find a way back into this round, and Wardley, as always, dangerous in the immediate aftermath of being hurt. 10-second clapper signals the end of round number 4 as Howard Foster gets in between them for the last time in the 4th round, as Fabio Wardley walks with a little bit of laboured movement back to his corner, sits down in his seat, and we're going to try and hear the words from his trainer, Ben Davison.
Nice and calm. Still a few too many lulls. I can see you're seeing him returning, but what you're doing is then creating a lull to then take it on. Even if you're going to take on...
Nice and calm, Ben Davison telling him, realising that at this point in the fight, Fabio Wardley can't take in too much information. Simple, nice and calm. I like that, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good corner, isn't it? Giving him good instructions and calm instructions so he can actually absorb it, because it's unbelievable out there, the punches that these guys are throwing and what they're taking.
Just heard him say to Wardley in the corner there, Davison, too much of a lull between action, just giving Parker a little bit too much time to recover, to set up his work. Not enough feints and what they would call non-punching activity to keep the mind and the body of Parker occupied, to keep him guessing. And already Wardley heeding those instructions, busier with the jab in the first 20 seconds of the 5th. Parker in the centre of the ring, fires out a jab, lands on the chin of Wardley. Wardley just steps clockwise around him with his back to the ropes now, just triple jabs his way into centre ring, jabs to the body, drops under the right-hand counter of Parker, lands a glancing right hand upstairs and then a left hook, and Parker just stepped off for a short moment. New Zealander doesn't want to give up ground too easily.
I think, Chris, what's happened at the start of this round, there's some better boxing here from Parker, and Wardley's realised it. And Wardley then started to up the pace a little bit, went through the gears and started to move his feet into play, because he knew he was being outboxed. He was being outboxed at distance, so he knew he had to get to him. But this is a little bit better now from Parker.
Well, it was a brilliant angle change, a big leaping left hook from Joseph Parker, just steps across to his right-hand side and chopped the right hand over the top, and you saw the sweat fly from the head of Fabio Wardley. He's just holding on now and allowing Howard Foster to come in and break them, just to give himself a little bit of breathing space. We approach the halfway mark of round number 5. Championship boxing on BBC 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley in a toe-to-toe battle in the centre of a packed O2 Arena in London. Wardley just touching with the lead hand, stabs the jab to the body. Parker, both hands out in front of him. Eyes focused now. He was a little bit blurry and hazy from round 2 to the end of round 3, but he looks a little clearer of mind, and he's certainly boxing better than he has done at any point since the first round. But he's caught with a counter right over the top from Fabio Wardley, and again the sweat just spraying off the head of the New Zealander, who responds with 2 brilliant right hands, and he just staggers Wardley back onto the ropes for a moment. The Ipswich fighter in that Philly shell, looking to take the sting off the offense of the New Zealander. Howard Foster separates them again.
I think one of the problems Parker's got here is he's a victim of his own success, because he looks like he's caught Wardley with a couple of good shots. He moves in, but you know how dangerous Wardley is, and that's when he can bring that knockout punch from anywhere. When you think he's beaten, it's like a cornered tiger, this kid, Wardley. He brings that knockout shot, and that's the problem for Parker. Too many times in this round he's had it his own way, but Wardley's still there, and he'll come back with that knockout punch.
The two just circling each other, firing out the jabs. Everything has got spite and intent on it, and Parker again chops the right hand down. Wardley just dipping a little bit low and making himself vulnerable to the attack. Wardley now jabs Parker onto the back foot, steps across him, and just allows him to come off the ropes for a moment.
There are moments here when Fabio is simply avoiding being hit by ducking away. It's old-fashioned, leaning to his right, and Parker's reluctant to get his left foot out, so he's just trying to catch him with right hands, which Fabio's walking away from. You made a great point, Richie, in the fourth round. You always make great points. You made a great point in the fourth round when Joseph Parker had Fabio trapped. You said something's happened. We haven't seen this yet. Fabio looks comfortable under pressure, and that's how it looks. Fabio looked in throughout that 180 seconds there. I think he lost the round, but he looked comfortable. He looked happy.
Like I say, that's the problem for Parker. I think he's boxing really well. I thought he won that round, by the way. But there were times there where he looked like he's on top, he's going forward, yeah. But this is when Wardley is really dangerous, when he's under pressure. That's when he's more than likely going to produce a knockout shot. So Parker really has got to watch what he's doing when he's going forward.
Well, it's ebbed and flowed as we creep towards the midway point of this championship fight. The WBO interim belt on the line, but more importantly, the shot at Alexander Usyk, the undisputed king of heavyweight boxing, the greatest of his generation. Both would relish the opportunity to face the great Ukrainian, and they're into the sixth round here. Wardley just circling around the outside as Parker holds centering. The New Zealander fires the jab into thin air. Wardley responds with a double that both land to the body. Parker jabs to the chest. Wardley just catches him with a chopping right hand on the counter, but Parker took it well. A long right hand from Parker. Just glanced ahead of Wardley, and he comes in with a little left hook on the belt line, and Howard Foster just letting them work it out in the clinch, just in the corner above our commentary position here ringside at the O2.
Chris, I said at the start of this contest that we'll find out if Fabio Wardley can actually box tonight, because he's going to have to box really well to beat Parker. And I think he can, because what he's doing, he's adapting to the situations all the time. He just caught Parker there with a lovely right hand when Parker was going forward earlier on. It was a cracking little shot. So he's learning things as this fight's going on. This kid can definitely box, but this is a cracking contest.
Well, it's the performance of his career so far. He just catches Parker with a long sweeping left hook as they stepped around each other and come together at centre ring. Howard Foster just getting into the mix and bringing them back to action. Wardley on the front foot, hand low, twitching, trying to set Parker off, trying to draw a lead from the New Zealander. Parker hands high, fires a double jab, doubles the left hook behind it. Both landed on the chin of Wardley, took them well. And now right hand follows up on the counter, and Parker bustles Wardley into the corner, and he's putting a lot of weight behind the follow-up shots. Landed a nice right hand in the melee there. Wardley taking some heavy leather as we tick down the final minute of round number 6 here. Parker misses a right hand and a left hook. Wardley's head movement was good there. Just sharpens the feet up, the Ipswich fighter, for a moment. Stiff jab to the head of Joseph Parker. Leads with the left hand, fires the right behind it, but New Zealander was just far enough out to watch it whistle past his forehead. Wardley rakes the right hand to the body, uppercut through the middle, lands on the chin of Parker, but the New Zealander responds with a nice right hand and a left hook of his own. Big right over the top. Rocks Wardley again, and he hangs on. 20 seconds on the clock in round number 6.
I actually think this has been a quite good round for Parker, but one thing about Wardley here, his powers of recovery are incredible. He's been hit with clean shots, and he just seems to recover a few seconds, then he's back to normal. He's a tough kid, he really is. But I think this has been a Parker round myself.
Danny Wilson said that Wardley's in the shape of his life, and he's going to have to be, but we are now going to head into the corner of Joseph Parker. We're going to hear from his trainer, Andy Lee, and see what the atmosphere is like. Let's hear from them.
How you feeling? Keep breathing. Catching fire. What? Catching fire? Nah, don't worry about the catching fire. Keep your boxing on with the jab. Don't get too quick with the jab, yeah? Jab up, jab down, be sharp with it.
That's a strange sounding corner with neither of them hearing each other. That gives you an indication of the noise here. You know, Joseph Parker's asking if he wants him to catch shots and let shots go. No, just concentrate on getting your jab out of the jab. I still don't think Joseph Parker is sharp enough in this fight at the moment. I think he's still hurting from that second round, Richie, I really do.
Yeah, it's a fair comment, Steve. He started the contest very quick, but that torrid second round that he had, yes, the speed has sapped away from him. It's a cracker, it really is.
So who will stay strong as we go down the stretch? Both have been in the most attritional of contests. Parker 2 from 3 against Chisora, and Dillian White had to really dig in and ultimately didn't see the final bell against Big Joe Joyce in the last of his prime. Wardley has been to the well too, but they're both taking each other to that familiar old place here, and Wardley has started the better in round number 7, firing shots through the guard of Parker. A couple of big right hands downstairs as well. Back to the New Zealander onto the ropes for a moment. He just looks a little bit dazed, Parker, as Wardley, left hand low, wide base, looking to fire off. Parker shuts down the space, and Hal Foster brings them back to the centre of the ring again.
Yeah, cagey start from both fighters in this round. Maybe they're feeling the pace a little bit. Slowed up a little bit. I mean, they've hit each other with big shots, which takes a lot out of you. But they're both boxers. I think the powers of recovery are pretty good, especially Wardley for me. He took some real big punches, and then within seconds, you know, he's dishing out as well.
That was a brilliant 4-punch combination from Joseph Parker. Stepped in with it, started low, finished high on the left hook. And just occasionally remind you that I might look tired, but I've still got plenty in the locker. Looks like they are just trying to both slow the pace down a little, but it can explode at any moment. And Wardley landed a big right hand over the top there, and a stiff jab off the back of it, just dipped under Parker's attack on the return. But Parker now has a brilliant counter right hand there, and that's hurt Wardley, who fires back. Parker now holds on as Wardley has his back to the ropes. Every time Parker lands something, you think Wardley's going to go. Just finds something in response and immediately reminds Parker that I'm still here and I'm going to be dangerous for every second.
Yeah, Chris, you can't keep throwing the jab from the waistline and bring it back to that position and expect not to get hit every time. You know, it's like going into the rain and dodging all the spots. So if you ain't got an umbrella, you're going to get wet. And if that hand is totally, constantly down all the time, then you're just open to the right-hand counter. And that's what Parker did there. It was a peach of a punch, a peach of a counter punch.
There's some reddening around the midsection of Joseph Parker, evidence of the consistent left hand to the body that Wardley has stuck there throughout the contest. As Parker just swings in a left hook, Wardley's hands were high that time and he took the impact on the forearms. Just Parker reaching as Wardley jabs downstairs a few moments ago. He's just starting to feel the cumulative volume of these. It is a hallmark of Ben Davison's coaching, but Lee Wood and that brilliant performance against Zucan at Fight Camp, just jabbing to the body, stepping around him, and it really does take its toll as a fighter. A little bit of a lull in that round, Steve, but maybe Wardley having the better of it.
And still a really good round. We've been spoiled by the first round, the second round and the third round, to be honest with you, Chris. It's one of those fights. It might really be dividing people. I've got Joseph Parker up either 4-3 or 5-2. Okay, that's what I've got at the moment. There might be people 2 rows back who have got Wardley in front. How you got it, Richie?
I've got Parker up 5-2.
Yeah, and I think that's right. It doesn't mean 5-2 sounds like it's a one-horse race. It's not, because the big right hands everyone's oohing and ahhing about, he's just turning away from them. You know, look at that. You see that there? It's a perfect right hand. You've only got to move a fraction of an inch. He's moving away from these shots well, Rich.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've got him 5-2, but it could easily be a 4-3 here. But I do think Parker is just ahead. Speed of punch is a little bit better. I think they're both tiring a little bit now. But yeah, for me, Parker just ahead. But I've got it 5-2, but it could be 4-3.
Just a mutually agreed breather in that 7th round after an unbelievable start. Can they pick things up, and who will get the second win first? Who will be able to make these crucial rounds count as we start the 8th? Wardley just circling around Parker in that familiar pattern. Stepping around in clockwise, lead hand low, just fencing with a jab. Parker stabs the left to the body this time. Looks to feint his way into range. Wardley looks for the right hand counter over Parker's jab. Didn't miss by much. And just a little bit of sharpness back in the work of the Ipswich fighter now after a laboured couple of rounds.
Yeah, he's launching that right hand. He's a little bit too far away. He's got to get a little bit closer now. He's got to do that by either moving his feet closer and actually throwing the right hand over the top, or a little feint, trigger, and bring Parker onto the punch as he's coming forward. But he's got to somehow throw it at a closer distance to land it.
Wardley just fired the jab, but Parker responded with 3 or 4 of his own, just boxes the Ipswich man into the corner above our commentary position here at the O2. Wardley just dips the head low, fires the jab into the body. Work with the lead hands in the first minute and a half of round number 8. You can bet your bottom dollar that this will catch fire at some point again, as Wardley lands a couple of stiff jabs on the mouth of Parker, who just takes them and steps in with a big right hand over the top there, pushes Fabio Wardley back, and it's been the consistently eye-catching work from the New Zealander these last 2 or 3 rounds, and we've seen him pull ahead after a torrid second. Can Wardley find something to turn the tide back in his favour as Parker smashes a right hand over the shoulder of Wardley onto the top of the cheekbone of the Ipswich fighter? Wardley jabs to the body again, steps around Parker, just trying to keep the New Zealander turning, trying to keep his balance offset, jabs to the head, second off a feint that time. Just getting into a bit of a groove here, Wardley, trying to respond from a couple of decent punches that Parker landed earlier in the round. The New Zealander fires a right hand and a left hook in as they come into the clinch.
Yeah, and Parker just showed you there earlier, Chris, how to close the gap. He closed it with the double jab, feet into range, and then he threw the right hand that hit the target. And again, right on cue, double jab, close the gap down, then launch the right hand. Unfortunately, Fabio Wardley's not doing that. He's launching it from too far out, behind the odd jab here and there. He's not closing the gap quick enough.
Wardley just looked for a counter uppercut as Parker fell in over the jab, but neither landed clean. 10 seconds to go in round number 8. We're starting to creep towards the business end of proceedings here in London. Parker, counter right, stab to the body, short shot, unusual shot, and Fabio Wardley responds with one to the midsection himself.
Well, we thought, what was it, the 7th round was a low. I think it's both of them are feeling the pace, and that's understandable after the first 9 minutes, those first 3 rounds, especially the first and the second round. They were absolutely extraordinary. Rich, I think they're both feeling the pace here. This fight, even though I've got Parker way in front, this fight is poised, Rich.
Yes, it is indeed, you know. I think it's a fight that can just change with one shot, and that's what Wardley brings to the party, isn't it? But at the same time, I think the rounds are slipping away from him. I think the ring position of Parker's a little bit better. He seems to be pushing Wardley back to the ropes and on the outskirts of the ring. He looks in a better place in terms of his jabs. Wardley's a little bit too far out. Dangerous, most certainly, but he's not getting close enough to land that big shot, and for me, he's got to get closer.
Round 9.
Wardley just puts the gum shield back in as his corner team exit the ring, and he's marked up in a consistent manner around the face, evidence of a good variety of work from Joseph Parker throughout the contest. The New Zealander, badly hurt in round number 2, has worked his way back into the fight and has taken something of a control of the contest, but he knows he cannot afford to get careless. We saw it against Justice Hooney. Wardley's put away every opponent that he's faced in his 19-fight career so far, most of them in devastating fashion, and at any moment this could be over for Joseph Parker. He is not home and dry yet. Into the 9th we go as Wardley looks to fire a jab upstairs. Parker just stepping around in triples, quadruples, doubles a left hook off the back of it. Hurt Wardley that time.
Yeah, again, Wardley, Chris, he's making mistakes of lowering his hands as his opponent's coming forward when he's in punching range, and he's getting caught. So the mistakes he's making himself, that's why he's getting caught. But he's got to sharpen up, Wardley has. He's tough, he really is. And for Parker, you can't relax. Once you've got him going, you've still got to try and finish the job off. You cannot relax against this guy.
A good flurry from Parker, just putting him ahead in this round so far. Can Wardley find something in response? Parker jabs, Wardley just fencing with his left hand, just the right hand sails over the top of Wardley's head. He's looking tired now, looks to his corner. Ben Davison just giving instructions as they have a brief moment of interaction from afar. Howard Foster separates the fighters and back to the centre ring they come. Jab to the body from Wardley. Parker with the hands high, stepping to his left. Just caught a glancing right hand on the top of the New Zealander's head there. Not enough to really get his attention, and he lands a stiff left hand in response, and that did hurt Fabio Wardley, and he's dipping and sliding and rolling on the ropes, and he's having to really dig deep here as Parker letting the hands go. Massive left hook from the New Zealander lands. Wardley shoveled a right hand into the body in response. Brilliant action as this one catches fire again with under a minute to go in the 9th round. Wardley at centre ring now, walks into a jab from Parker, working his way back into this contest, and well, what a response from him, but he's in a bit of danger here, Richie.
Yeah, his powers of recovery again, fantastic from Wardley, because he was in trouble there. There was a big left hook that went in and his legs just wobbled momentarily, but he's recovered again now. But that's when I say he's at his most dangerous, and again, Parker now is probably feeling the pace of the round also. As I say that, he launches another attack. It's a cracking contest, but for me, Wardley again, he really is playing with fire. Those hands are just too low.
Well, Wardley backs Parker into the corner now, looking to respond and let the man in front of him know you haven't got rid of me yet. He ripped a couple of shots to the body, got the attention of the New Zealander, who now steps off, having put a lot into the fight, lands a nice chopping right hand at the end of round number 9.
No lulls in that round. You know what he did there for the very first time, Joseph Parker? I've been talking about it all night. Is he moved his feet round to the left to land the left hook, and it caught Fabio Wardley completely off guard. It caught him flush on the chin, and it really hurt him, Rich. Really hurt him.
Yeah, fast footwork there from Parker in that round, with the fast hands also. And then when you're boxing against an opponent whose guard is so low, you're going to connect with these shots. But he really went for it there, did Parker, when he got Wardley on the ropes on the far side of the ring from us. He really went for it, Chris. He was trying to finish him off, but this kid's power of recovery, I keep saying it, it's incredible. He's got a great chin.
It is incredible, but that was the slowest we've seen him recover. His punches look sluggish for the next 30 or 40 seconds. Joseph Parker's just got to be careful here, and he can win this. One stupid mistake, and it's all over still.
We're watching the slow motion replay of the moment where Parker had Wardley on the ropes, and Wardley fired a right hand back, which missed by fractions, grazed the ear of Parker, and if one of those lands flush and he's a little bit square with the feet, he could be lights out, as you say, into round number 10 here. Wardley lands first, and a stiff jab in response from Joseph Parker. Circle around each other at centre ring. Wardley again, a thumping jab, just rocks the head back of the New Zealander, who he has now got his hand low, looking for a right hand counter over Wardley's low lead left hand.
But for the first 30 seconds of this round, there's been a real sense of urgency from Fabio Wardley. I think his corner will have told him, listen, you're behind here, you need a good round. He's come out pretty fast as Fabio Wardley. So yeah, he's going for it a little bit. Oh, it gets caught!
Caught with a big right hand over a low jab there, Fabio Wardley, and he just stopped in his tracks for a moment, and he hangs on. It was almost as if Joseph Parker was surprised at what landed, and they both just froze in time for a brief moment. But Parker lands a brilliant right hand and a reverse 1-2 off the back of it that just staggers Wardley back onto his heels. And again, the Ipswich man holds on now. Minute 45 of round number 10 to go.
Same mistake, Chris. Same mistake. Low left hand as you're coming forward, and he walks onto a right hand over the top. Time and time again. And like Steve Bunn said, he's getting slightly weaker now. The powers of recovery are there, but it's taking longer to recover. Incredible.
Parker's taken some big shots here, but Wardley, his chin has been phenomenal. Unquestionably his biggest asset tonight. Can he find something, though, to flip this fight on his head as he did against Justice Hooney? Parker in centre ring. Wardley jabs again to the body, steps out of range as Parker's jab hits thin air. Just over a minute to go in the 10th. And they tie up again at centre ring, and Howard Foster separates them and sets box on. Wardley firing in that jab downstairs yet again. Surely that begins to take its toll on you as a fighter at this stage of a contest. Jabs upstairs this time, Wardley. Parker backs into the corner to our left, counter right over the jab of Wardley, time and again, and another follow-up right hand. Wardley eats it clean, tries to smother the space, but he's in big trouble, and he fires back. Parker landed 3 or 4 flush right hands, and it just unbelievable, the punishment that Wardley is taking here, and he continues to fight. He lands a right hand on Parker, and I think the New Zealander may be in a little bit of trouble himself here. Ebb and flow, back and forth between these two, and suddenly Wardley, as he has so many times throughout his career, dangerous in the big moments, and Wardley putting the hands together, and Parker's in big trouble. Uppercut, left hook, right hand, left hook from Wardley. Parker scrambling to stay on his feet here. Howard Foster having a good look at him, and the New Zealanders all over the place, rocking and rolling on the ropes, desperately trying to hang on, and stays on his feet somehow, some way. Joseph Parker stays up.
Unbelievable! Joseph Parker had walked that round, he'd landed at will, he'd done what he wanted, and then he caught him on the top of the head. It's always the top of the head, and Joseph Parker was lucky to escape there without Howard Foster intervening. Saying that, Fabio Wardley in the corner in front of us, Rich, has nothing left.
Absolutely nothing left indeed. It looked like it was Joseph Parker's round until that last minute. Wardley just turned it around, didn't he, with those shots. He caught Parker flush, he caught him with a good uppercut, a good right hand over the top. Parker was wobbled. Parker was more in trouble in that round than Wardley was, most certainly. And yet it looked like a dominant round for Parker up until that point. But he's hanging on at the end there. The referee, you know what? If the referee would have jumped in, I don't think people would have argued with that, Steve. He was looking right at the very end. We're waiting for the bell. Gets caught with that uppercut, Steve. What a round.
They are both absolutely exhausted. First man to land could be the winner. It's that simple.
Championship Boxing on BBC 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Chris Lloyd alongside Richie Woodall and Steve Bunce as Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker are in the trenches here at the O2 in London. Wardley fires a long right hand out. Sweat just sprays from the head of Joseph Parker, tired and weary after a brutal 10th round in which he was so close to being taken out. Wardley jabs to the eye of Parker, and Parker looks to have felt something there, and he's touching his eye, and I think there's some blood in the eye of Joseph Parker, and all of a sudden his vision's impaired, and Wardley could have an opening here and an opportunity in these last two rounds to snatch victory again from the jaws of defeat, and the New Zealander knows it too.
It just looks like a different look and complexion to this contest now. The way Fabio Wardley's coming forward, it looks like he knows he can win this, and he's going for that knockout shot. What an incredible turnaround. You know, a round ago it looked like Parker was well in control until that final last minute. There is a bit of blood most certainly in the left eye, I think, of Parker. There's trouble in him, and Wardley looks like the one that he knows he can win it.
Parker looking really tired now as Wardley lands a big right hand, and he's hurt Parker badly. He's in the corner, the New Zealander rocking and rolling, fires back, but Wardley lands again, and Parker's dipping forward. Wardley, big right hand, uppercut through the middle, left hook, and Parker rocking and rolling. And Howard Foster having a big look at Parker here. He's in the corner, backed up, and Wardley letting the hands go with everything that he has. Crashes a right hand on the top of the head of Joseph Parker, the New Zealander, hunkering down behind the gloves, trying desperately to hang on, responds with the left hand. Wardley trying to break free of the clinch now and give himself room to punch. Still a minute 10 to go in round number 11, and Howard Foster has waved it off. Fabio Wardley, victory from the jaws of defeat in London. Outstanding, Richie Woodall.
Absolutely unbelievable turnaround for Fabio Wardley. Yeah, I said at the start of the round, when he looked like he got that sense that he was going to win the contest, he catches Joe Parker with a big shot and keeps him on the ropes and just piled on the pressure. I don't think you can argue with Howard Foster jumping in, Steve.
Of course you couldn't argue with Howard Foster jumping in. They were both exhausted in parts of that fight, both out on their feet, but he unloaded some shots there, Wardley, and Parker was trapped on the ropes. Parker had no reply. He was trying the left hooks, he was trying the right hand. I think his nose was broken at the start of the round. That's why he was fiddling with his face. That was even more dramatic than any previous victory by Fabio Wardley. That is a finish and a fight that you will rarely see.
Bugsy, Richie, there are fights that really stick long in the memory. Joshua Klitschko at Wembley Stadium in the most dramatic of 11th round finishes. One of the best heavyweight fights in the last 10 years.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. It was incredible, wasn't it? Because every round, there was something in most of the rounds where either fighter looked like they could actually win the contest. But the belief in this guy, his powers of recovery, especially in that last round and the round before that, I mean, a round before that, at the start of the previous round, it looked like he was out on his feet himself. I mean, the way he's come back there and finished his opponents off, man, that was unbelievable.
It is bedlam at ringside. Celebrations, looks of absolute astonishment left and right of us. People hanging over our commentary position. And in the ring, Fabio Wardley is just in ecstasy with his team. Hugs and embraces all round. Ben Davison, Robert Hodgins, Lee Wiley, Danny Wilson from Boxing Science. They know what an unbelievable performance this is, and what a gateway this opens for a man that 10 years ago was not even a fringe novice on the amateur boxing scene. And now, Steve, the door may be open for a fight with the greatest heavyweight of his generation.
And what's more, he'll be going into that fight as the most exciting and entertaining boxer on planet Earth. No other heavyweight delivers what he's delivering. No other heavyweight has those fairy tale aspects.
We just have to describe the finish here. Joseph Parker on the ropes, Wardley just shellacking him with a hailstorm of the heaviest artillery that he had left in his box. A big left hook landed, a right hand crashed over the top. Parker, weary, dazed, protested as you would expect him to, but as Howard Foster steps in to save the New Zealander, Wardley turned away and just collapsed face down on the canvas, knowing that finally he'd given everything and he got over the line yet again.
And of course, Joseph Parker's going to be looked over. Of course he's going to want to continue, and he might talk about that, but then he'll watch it and he'll see he may have been missed with the last two shots that we saw there before Howard Foster came in, but he managed to take about 20 of the 30 that was thrown before that in that 30 seconds. He is absolutely incredible, and I absolutely have to tell you, 2 rounds earlier I thought his powers of recovery, Richie, were gone. He looked like he slowed down. He looked beaten, he looked hurt. But you cannot, cliche coming, you cannot write this kid off ever.
He's box office, isn't he? You cannot write him off at all. And like I said, we were going to see if he could actually box tonight. He can box. He adapts, he changes. He did box, and he boxed really well tonight. But the power and his powers of recovery, man, that was incredible. Incredible fight.
Well, as the music dips down, the crowd chanting, "Oh, Fabio Wardley." Let's head to Thomas Schreiber for the official result.
1 minute 54 seconds of round number 11. Our referee in charge, Howard Foster, steps in to stop the contest. Therefore, your winner by way of technical knockout, still undefeated and new WBO interim heavyweight champion of the world, Fabio Wardley.
A staggering finish from what is surely the most explosive, exciting young heavyweight in boxing today. Fabio Wardley, 11th round dramatic, stops Joseph Parker on his feet to move to 21-0 with 20 by way of knockout. Celebrates with his team, Ben Davison, Lee Wiley, Robert Hodgins and the like. And no doubt we'll hear from them very shortly. Ade Oladipo standing by on the mic. Staggering stuff.
Absolutely incredible stuff that was, Chris. Goodness me, we're trying to take a breath here at ringside, but Bunsey, you said this was a massive risk. It looked like it could explode at any moment. It did frequently, but before we break it down any further, that finish from Fabio Wardley, it wasn't that one concussive shot, but those punches that he put together, a sustained attack, he had to drag that energy up from the depths of his being.
I have no idea where he found it, because for 2 rounds leading into that stoppage at 154 of the 11th, he looked like he'd lost his edge, he looked like he'd lost his danger. Plus, it did look like to me Parker had survived the dangerous rounds, the dangerous chances, the dangerous counters. And then Fabio half sees a gap and he jumps through any gap and he lets his hands go. As I said, he's the most exciting heavyweight on the planet. Doesn't mean he's the best. He's the most exciting heavyweight on the planet. He is the most box office of box office heavyweights, period.
It's like a gambler at a casino that keeps rolling, the numbers keep coming up and the crowd keeps growing to see how long the streak can continue. And you think at some point, well, the house has to win, but it wasn't tonight, Richie.
No, I mean, you know, he'll admit it himself. He makes a lot of mistakes. He gets caught with punches. I thought Parker was way ahead, to be quite honest, on the scorecard. I think Fabio Wardley had a piece of most of the rounds, but Parker, for me, was ahead, and will probably be desperately disappointed that he has been dragged into that toe-to-toe battle. And we always said that would probably favour Fabio Wardley. But having said that, he's even surprised me even more tonight, Wardley, because he got caught with some really big shots that I thought he's not going to recover from this, but he did the way he did, but he keeps making the same mistakes. He keeps dropping his left hand, but he's one of those. He's box office. He's one of those fighters. He's prepared to take a punch to land one, and that's what I think what makes him so exciting. He'll take a shot to land one, and he's going to land one, and in his mind he's going to knock you out, and you're not going to knock me out. That is his attitude, and it's a gamble, but it's paid off yet again.
Richie is like a football team who are 1-0 down in added time, 5 minutes added time, it's the 95th minute, and he still thinks he's going to win 2-1. And that is really difficult to be in with somebody with that kind of mentality, but who can also deliver it, and has again, but at this level. There were many questions. His power wasn't one of them. Lots of other questions, boxing ability, defensive nous. He's ticked an awful lot of boxes this evening.
I think you actually hit on it, Stace, earlier, about it wasn't just a single punch, because there was a couple of rounds before that when he looked really tired, and he looked like the fitness was ebbing away, and he was getting more and more tired. And then when he turned it around and he actually finishes Parker off, it's not one shot, it's a sustained attack. And where he, like you said, Stacey, where he dragged that energy from, I will never ever know. And that doesn't come down to training, you know. That's inside you. That's inside his soul. You know what I mean? As a person, that's not fitness. That's something that's just inside you, which you can't explain. It's that fighting instinct, and that's inside you as a fighter. That bears from his soul. That's where that came from. Incredible.
In the Justice Tooney fight, I felt he wasn't as consistent as he could have been with the jab to the body. He still found the punch that he needed late. But tonight, even in the moments where he was getting outboxed, he was eating the bigger shots, he was consistently just racking up that jab to the body. You could see the reddening on the midsection of Parker, and it did accumulate. It did cause fatigue in the New Zealander, and ultimately